5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You're live with Neve.
You're right. All right, here we are live with Neve. It is 4 o'clock on the east coast of the United States. We're looking out at the beautiful Atlantic Ocean in New York, just up the street. And it's a cold, chilly day here, but that's okay. I'm warm, I'm inside, I'm alive, and I've got food on my table, so I guess it's a good day. We're going to have some great fun today in keeping with having great bass players on always. We have a really great bass player today. And I'm looking forward to having him on. I know you guys we're going to be talking all kinds of rock and roll and the nitty gritty of Sal Madea, bass player for Roxy Music. We'll get that big elephant out of the room first. I'm sure he's probably tired of those questions, so we're going to keep him real short. We'll get him out of the way first. And then we'll move on to what he's been doing. He's got a bunch of other projects I want to talk about. And we'll be trying to kind of dig in. He's a quintessential New York guy, so I'm looking forward to having him on and talking. And I'm going to go ahead and say hello to Julie this afternoon, live from Tampa. Hey, Jules, what's happening?
Hello, how's everybody?
I'm high on life.
Peachy? Oh, good.
How about you?
Good. You
What are you
said
doing?
it's like 70 degrees by you?
Oh man, too
Did you
bad.
say it was like 70? No, didn't you
Very
say it was
nice.
70 degrees?
A couple of days ago. Yeah, a couple of days ago we hit it. Like I think it was maybe Wednesday. We had like one day it was really warm. It was great. I was out on the balcony, getting some sun on my cadaverous pallor here.
Nice.
Okay, well, so listen, let's just bring on Sal. Enough bollocks on the rest of things. Let's get to the bass. Sal, afternoon.
Good afternoon, guys. Nice to meet you all. Not too much. I went to the City Winery last night since they relocated, to see a Charlie Watts tribute because a good friend of mine was playing drums.
Nice. I saw that on your website.
Yeah. So
good show. Excellent show.
It was a good show and got to see a lot of people from my past that I've played with and haven't seen in a long time.
Excellent.
So, yeah, it was a nice night out. And the new City Winery is mind-blowingly beautiful. Much better acoustics, much better location. I highly recommend if you're...
Is it on Hudson Street?
It's on Hudson. It's right on the water. There's also a beautiful viewing site if you just want to go and hang out on a nice day.
Sweet.
And, yeah, it was very cool.
Well, I haven't seen anything there yet, but I look forward to it at some point for sure. Great venue. Always has good bands, and you just never know who you'll see or hear there.
That's absolutely true. And like I said, I played the old venue many times, and this one really is an improvement, and good luck to them.
Yeah, for sure, especially in today's restaurant environment in New York, and the whole entertainment scene. certainly been
it's a big
squeezed.
room. It's a much bigger
Yeah.
room. It's like
Good.
400 capacity.
Okay.
So
Great. So how's the sound in there? Is it what you'd expect?
much better. Much
Excellent.
better in the old room. Yeah.
Very nice. Well, cool. Well, let's just talk. Everybody asks you. I know everybody goes, "Oh, it's the guy from Roxy Music." Let's just get that out of the way. It was a long time ago, and just kind of give us an idea of how it happened, how you ended up in the right place at the right time, and that kind of stuff.
Well, and before Paul Thompson was in Roxy Music, I had done a session with an obscure band called Smokestack Crumble, which I'm sure is not rolling off everybody's tongue anytime soon.
I sing all their songs at night in the bathtub. They're a fine band.
Exactly. Extremely obscure band.
Mhm.
But I met someone that gave me a producer's correspondence, and I went up to his office, and he was on Denmark Street, which, if you don't know London, especially in those days, Denmark Street was where the music business was.
Okay.
That's where all the lawyers, producers, that's where a lot of music shops.
Right.
It was a hub of the music business in London. So I go up to his office, and he said, "I have a session for you, and this is what I can pay you." And everything sounded good to me. I said, "Fine, where and when." And I show up, and I do the session, and they were a good band. It was kind of like a little bit of glam rock meets AC/DC kind of a thing. But I just remember cutting the track with the headphones on, thinking to myself, "Wow, that drummer is a monster."
Yeah. What was his name?
I'm going to get his phone number, So to make a long story short, got his phone number, kept in touch with him. And then by chance, a couple of years later, when he's obviously in the biggest band in England at this point, in a matter of a year and a half, his life changed. He comes into a record store that I'm working in with Eddie Jobson, and he's buying records, and the record, I think he was looking for a Mothers of Invention record or a Zappa record.
Oh, okay. Yeah, he had an illustrious career with them later on.
Yeah, Eddie did. Yeah.
Yes.
That's for sure. So I actually had the record, and I lied and said I didn't have it, and I would have to order it for him just so he would come back.
Right. Good
and
thinking,
then
man.
I had the gumption to be very direct and ask, "Hey, is Roxy looking for a bass player for the tour?" The tour. And he said, "Actually, no, Johnny," meaning Johnny Gustafson, who did the record, is doing the tour. So I thought, damn,
Yeah.
there goes that idea. But then the next day when he came back, he said, "Hey, by the way, things have changed. Johnny can't do the tour, so we're auditioning guys. So come down."
How long did you have before you were on the road with him? And how many rehearsals? Curious.
Oh my God. Like it happened once he said to come down for an audition, it happened in a whirlwind of activity. It was within
I'm sure
2 weeks.
Awesome.
I still don't know to this day who the other 9 guys that auditioned for the gig, but in the end, I got the gig, obviously.
Right.
And I was as green as you could be. I knew nothing about anything, let alone being in this massively popular band who's probably at this point the biggest band in England.
Right.
And I have to go out and figure out everything for myself. Clothes. They said, "Go out and buy some clothes. Here's a budget,"
Yeah, right.
what talk about per diems, and I didn't know what per diem was. I didn't even know what a monitor was.
Yeah, right.
I was like, wow, you can hear yourself on stage. What a concept.
Really, really.
You know,
Well,
so
you also got some pretty snappy duds in those days, man. You know?
I did wind up with a really nice snappy jacket. I already had the trousers and the boots. So I went to Jumpin' Jack Flash. No, Granny Takes a Trip. And there was a guy that worked there who happened to be from Brooklyn. His name was Gene. Yeah, his name was Gene Krell. He was a great guy. He was really fun. And he said to me, I'll take care of you. I'll make you an outfit. And he came up with the silver jacket and the choker,
right,
and the whole bit that you could see on my first book, and you could see on my website the photo of me in that jacket and my blue Rickenbacker.
I haven't. I was not able to get it loaded up, but I have the picture. We're going to do more talking because that's a great picture. There was so much that came out of that period of time. You've had an interesting brush with, as I've seen your book, I've read excerpts from it. And we can talk about that because I think some of the people, number one, people, if you're listening, buy his book, check it out. Sal, what's it called?
I have
4 strings.
I have 2 books out. My first book is called 4 Strings, Phony Proof, and 345s.
Okay.
And my new book is called, I'll hold it up right there, The White Label Promo Preservation Society. This book is actually, I have a partner, Mitchell Cohen, that I wrote this with.
Okay.
And I'm doing an in-store at Rough Trade tomorrow at 7 p.m. for this.
Oh, excellent.
Yeah.
Well, I certainly am going to track you down and get one. I really look forward to reading it. It'd be really great.
It's really a great book. It's going into its 3rd printing. And
very nice.
Yeah, very, very nice, very successful. Very happy about that. And really psyched about and excited about doing this book signing Q&A at Rough Trade tomorrow at 7 p.m. So, but anyway,
Excellent.
Getting back to the book you're talking about, that's more or less a memoir, autobiography / record list of my favorite 45s. Is the last third of the book.
Okay.
And some of it's about growing up in Little Italy on Mulberry Street as a child and teenager, and then going over.
Did you know Liberty DeVito growing up?
I've never met Liberty. No.
No kidding. Even since,
I know most New York musicians, but there's a few I've missed, and he's one of them.
Well, hell, he's a character. We're having him back on in December, and I just assumed maybe by proximity you might have crossed your paths.
No, but I love his interview with Dino Danelli. You ever see that?
Right. Dino's great.
He did a bunch of interviews with Dino Danelli, and they're absolutely great. Yeah.
Excellent. Well, tell me, how did you get started playing? We've only got a minute, so I'm just going to roll us out. We're going to come back in the next segment. We're going to just keep on talking rock and roll. We'll be right back, live with Neve. Here we go.
Like a melting flake of snow this year, I won't be sad to see it go.
Hi, I'm Darren F. Flynn, a singer-songwriter from Ireland, and I'm on Live with Neve.
I would have said it couldn't happen here. The people
I'm Keith.
I'm Judy, and our company is Gone Country, and we design and produce our own really unique and fun cowboy hats. Keith and I have tried to create a business that's different by focusing on what's important to the customers. Our quality is so good that we offer a lifetime warranty on everything we sell. At the end of the day, if our customers are happy, we're happy. Check us out at GoneCountryHats.com.
Take a look at the sponsored artists and Gone Country Hats at GoneCountryHats.com to find your favorite artist's hat, like Duke Johnson, Sam Rourke, Neil, Jules, and more.
All right. We're back here at Live with Neve. It is 4:15. We are talking to Sal Madea of Roxy Music and many other things. We're going to be talking about it. In fact, our graphics, I had some issues, but here is a picture of Sal, and he's looking pretty swank. He's got that, looks like a Precision, and here he is on Dr. Strangelove. Let me see, I have another...
Nice face.
This is the picture we were just talking about. Hey, Julie, check this out before we go to news.
That's a badass face, baby.
I mean, look at this dude, man. He's swinging. That's the cool shit.
That's a rock star.
Go ahead with the news, and we'll bring him back on. You got some good stuff happening?
Okay. Well, so we are new at news with Jules here. Got to figure out how that rhymes. So music news for you post-grunge fans. Eddie Vedder of Pearl Jam and Temple of the Dog fame has a new solo album coming out. The single The Haves has been released. Right away, one can hear the differences from the projects that he's done before. And vocally and lyrically, though, this is a really good song. It's something you'd never really expect to hear from Eddie Vedder. Aside from all the jokes about, the Bob Dylan jokes. So the new album is expected to be released on February 11th, and there will be limited vinyl pressings of the song The Haves and the song Long Way. So check your local music stores for the vinyl. Okay, a very limited number of records that you will be able to get. And today, our guest Sal Madea. Well, of course, he's sharing his tours, his experiences, his music with us, as he is a bona fide rock star. Now, some of the events coming up this weekend, we've got the Sunshine State Cannabis Festival. That's here in Florida. It's in the Tampa area. It's Plant City, actually, over at the Florida Fairgrounds. And that should be
my old stomping grounds.
Yep, exactly. And then there's Thanksgiving Fest. That's on Sunday. That's over at the river at Tampa Bay Church. And that should be a lot of fun over on I-Drive. International Drive Tampa, not I-Drive Orlando. In Michigan, the 10th annual Beer and Wine Festival that starts tomorrow. That's at Treetops Resort in Gaylord, Michigan. Then Psychic and Holistic 2-day fair in Caledonia. And that is going to be in Caledonia, Michigan. Over by you, Neil, New York, New Jersey. There is the U.S. Festival Empowerment from KMC to NYC. Participated in that. And that's a Kadampa Meditation Center in New York. I apologize for screwing up that name if I did. Harvest Fest, and that is all weekend at Brunswick in Brunswick, New Jersey. So more good stuff to do this weekend. For more details, festivals, news, how about, not Neil's, for more festivals, news, and events, keep checking back with us on all of our pages here at Twitch, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, with more to come. And I am Jules with the news on Live with Neve. And back to you.
And where do we go from here? We go to Sal Madea. And where'd he go? What did you do with him? You locked him in your trunk? Oh, God.
No, not yet. That's later on.
There's some fuckery going on here.
I wanted to show Jules something.
Oh, please do.
Right here in my book. You see that where I have my finger?
Yeah.
That's not quite.
That's a woman named Julie Driscoll, who was a fabulous singer in the 60s in England. And
slide it a little more to your stage left.
Yeah, her nickname was Jules.
Really?
Right
That's
there.
cool.
Right
JULZ.
And which,
Yep.
All right.
that's
Well,
awesome. Thank you
you
for
have a
sharing that.
doppelganger
That's
somewhere,
killer.
Jules, or at least a psychic doppelganger, I guess.
So
Hey, that's
Google her, Jules. You'll be interested in her story.
Well,
I will. Thank
so
you, Sal. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
that's very cool. So tell me, do you still have the Rickenbacker?
No, I do not.
No shit.
Yeah.
Tell us about how you got rid of it. I'm just
Well,
curious. I'm sure I've heard this story from many other people, but I'm curious to hear. It probably meant a big deal to you when you got it first back then.
Well, let me put it this way. I'll try to be as diplomatic as I can, but the Rickenbackers are not made very well. So they're not built to last. So although I used it for 5 years, maybe, from about 73 to maybe 78, 77. The guts of it just fell apart. But
was that touring? Was that while you were touring?
no. It was after I was luckily not while I was actually playing, and thank goodness. While I was actually using it, it sounded absolutely stupendous. But as I said, after a while, the inner workings stopped working. I'll put it to you that way.
Oh no!
So I moved on to. I've had a number of basses in my lifetime, but I moved on to something else. But
I think you were playing an EBO. Is that what you were playing the last time I saw you? A Gibson?
Right now, I have a Jerry Jones Longhorn, which is my exclusive bass that I use for sessions and live.
That's your baby.
It sounds amazing, and best of all, it's about 2 pounds.
Oh,
so,
that's good.
So
that must be what you were using with Ed Rogers when I saw you at the cutting room.
Yes, absolutely.
And at the time, I didn't know your background. I just remember sitting there watching the show, and I'm like, God, this bass player is fucking great. I want to play with him, you know? I'm a drummer. And I was sitting with Paul. We were having a great time. And then with George Usher, too, who was there that night.
Yeah.
No, I know you know George great through your wife. I just made that association because when I called you, it came up as Lisa. And I got confused.
That's right, it does.
I really had a weird moment. I'm like, well, I knew the name, but then I had just like a weird moment. It confused me. And, I'm an old guy and smoked a lot of weed, so I forgot things.
No, it's not your fault. No, Lisa and George have done 2 great records.
2 wonderful albums.
The privilege of playing on the first one. And it is just a sterling piece of work.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. George is a hand-carved, one-of-a-kind dude.
Yes.
Definitely. So let's get back to, I see you've got some other stuff going on. We talked about the White Label Preservation Society, and you have a podcast, Spin Cycle. Let's talk about that a little bit.
Spin Cycle's my monthly radio show where they allow me to play whatever I want to play. There's no restrictions. So I'm a lifelong record collector, music nerd, geek, whatever you want to call it.
We're a strange fraternity.
Yeah, there you go. So I have a ball doing it. I do it once a month, which is about all I can handle, The weekly thing just wasn't for me. So
it has its joys and it has its nightmares, like anything,
Well, I take it. I have fun with it, but I take it very seriously. My show, like anything else that I do, I try to have fun with everything that I do, but I also take it very seriously and try to be
That's great.
Yeah, try to do the best job that I can. So it takes me about a month to edit and, you know, get together a radio show that I'm happy with. And as long as I'm happy with it, that's fine. I'm not looking, you know, for like 5 million listeners. I'm looking, please, whoever listens to me and I get feedback, oh man, what song is that? Or I haven't heard that in ages. I love that, you know. So I'm happy with that, and it's fun to put together. But like I said, I take it very meticulously. I start planning my next show the day after my show. So my show will be on a Sunday. By the next Monday, I'm making a list, you know, and then
to go back and a re-edit list.
Yeah, and then it's crossed out, and then I'm finally ready for another show. You know, that kind of thing. Yeah.
Yeah, sometimes they have to clean my language up and assorted other peccadillos. Sometimes I put my foot in my mouth or someone else's.
No, I'm free to say because it's on the Lot Radio, by the way, LOTRADIO.com. And I'm free to say and do whatever I want. And
that's good.
And that's great. Yeah, I enjoy it.
That's
back in the saddle again.
So it sounds like you have a pretty full schedule.
I try to stay busy, you know, but I like my downtime as well. You know,
Everybody needs that.
You got to have it.
Yeah, just to listen to music and educate myself in what I want to do next. As far as recording projects or my radio show or book ideas or anything like that. Downtime is a good time to conjure up thoughts and make notes for any kind of project that I want to get involved in.
Do you have a process, or do you just have a bunch of notebooks? What is kind of your process for these various projects? I show you my office. It's a lot of pads, a lot of information. Makes sense to me, but probably to nobody else. How do you do it?
I have about 10 to 12 yellow pads. I have about 5 notebooks, and I have the old school notebooks. I have about 5 of those.
Yeah.
So there's stuff all over the place. Yeah. Plus mental notes.
My girlfriend always asks me, well, what is all this stuff? You know?
Yeah.
I'm like, don't mess with my pile. You know, it's kind of got some bizarre zen to it that works. And
Lisa doesn't ask anymore. She knows what it is.
Right. So do you write music with your wife? How does that work?
We used to write a lot more than we do now. Well, we are going in the studio in December and to record 4 songs that she wrote by herself. So we haven't written together in a while, but we used to write once upon a time together a lot. We got a deal with Atlantic Records. We had a publishing deal with MCA as partners.
Excellent.
That kind of went by the wayside when I started being on the road constantly.
Right.
And I was hardly ever home. It was about an 8-year period where I was hardly ever home. I was on the road with an American band called Cracker.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So you were off and running for quite a while. Tell me about that. Did you have a lot of fun?
We had too much fun.
Yeah. Well, that means it's successful if you can't remember too much of it.
No, we had good fun, good, clean fun. A lot of laughing, a lot of, but it was 8 years and it was hard work and it was we were on the road like half the year, like
Wow.
all the time. 2 to 3 weeks at a time. I'd come home for a week, go back out for 2 weeks. It was that kind of thing. We had a saying in Krakow: we've been everywhere 3 times. You know,
That's cool.
we toured the country, we toured England, we toured Europe, we went to Iraq in 2009 to play for the troops. And I don't mean a highfalutin, you know, Bob Hope kind of a tour. This was nitty gritty, in with the soldiers, you know.
That must be an awesome experience. Listen, we're going to go to a break real quick. Hold that thought. I can't wait. I want to hear more about your excursions with the military. Because that's the real nitty gritty, as you put it. All right, live with Neve. It's 5:30. We'll be right back. It's live with Sal Madea.
Hi, I'm trumpeter Greg Adams, and I'm live with Neve.
Hey there, it's Kevin Sorbo here, and you lucky people, you are live. You're live with Neve or Neve or Neve. Nevi. I don't know. I can't say the dude's name. Anyway, you're on live with him, so I don't know. I guess that's a pretty good thing.
All right. Well, we're here talking with Sal Madea, and I've been doing a lot of talking. I want to bring Julie on. Julie is also a bass player, as you know, and I want to see what she's got to ask you.
Okay.
Then we'll come.
Woo! Let me. Gosh.
Hi, Julie.
After everything we've been talking about, there's a. Ooh, what is your favorite out of all the basses you've had? Now let me ask you this. Do you prefer the typical, quintessential 4-string bass, or are you into the 5, 6 strings? And if so, does it really add that much more, do you find, or does it just kind of complicate things creatively?
I'm into the 4-string traditional approach. I'm not a big fan of the 5-string, 6-string. The only fan I am of is Tom Peterson from Cheap Trick's 12-string bass, only because it's basically a 4-string bass with 2 octaves on each string. So it's not your traditional 5, 6-string bass. Now, on the other side of the coin, I am lately becoming fascinated with an old school Fender 6-string that it turns out that John Lennon played on While My Guitar Gently Weeps.
Oh
and
my God, really?
Yeah. And Piggies, and about 5 songs from the White Album. And I've listened to the isolated tracks. So, and because I'm a Paul McCartney freak as a bass player, he's my
hero.
number one guy. You know, I mean, and I have many others that I love their playing, but he's my number one inspiration. But the 6-string Fender bass, the first time I ever saw one is Jack Bruce played one back in Cream days, in the early Cream days. And
early.
Yeah, and I saw him play it, and I didn't know what it was. I thought he was playing bass on the guitar. That's how ignorant I was about the situation. And then in doing research, I realized that there was a group called The Shadows I don't know if you know Cliff Richard and the Shadows,
Mhm.
but they predated the Beatles and the whole British invasion. And there was a guy in that band named Jet Harris, and
Okay.
he played the 6-string bass, but he used it. He played like lead guitar lines on it. He's pretty
Yeah.
amazing. If you get a chance to listen to his stuff, his name is Jet Harris, and there's a track called Rave, Rave, which I'm going to play on my radio show coming up. And if you get a chance to listen,
Awesome.
if you get a chance to listen to that. So anyway,
Yeah.
to fast forward, it comes to light now that Lennon on the White Album and Get Back, and even George, I think George plays 6-string bass on Hey Jude, and Lennon plays on Helter Skelter, if you can believe that. He plays
Really?
6-string bass. It's not McCartney, because McCartney's playing guitar. So my new fascination
Wow.
is this 6-string bass that they used way back in the dark ages of 1968 and 66 and whatever, you know. But to answer your question, no, I'm a 4-string purist.
I
My
gonna go
my
there.
favorite bass that I ever played, aside from the one I use now, which I am totally in love with in all ways, the sound, the feel. But I once upon a time had a Fender Telecaster bass that was actually given to me as a gift, and that was
Wow.
by far the best bass I ever had.
That's
It was the bass that Ron Wood used on Truth. I don't know if you know the Truth album by Jeff Beck Group, but
okay. Yeah, yeah.
yeah, when Ron Wood whenever he played bass, he used a Fender Telecaster bass, and the neck is like a tree trunk. I mean, they're
Oh
really
God.
heavy and they're really hard to play, but boy, do they sound amazing. So I'd say between the Rickenbacker that I had, 4001 Rick, the Telly bass, and the Jerry Jones Longhorn that I have now, those are my 3 favorites.
Those are your 3 faves. I've got
Yeah.
a I've got a Schecter that's like made out of like 4 types of wood and weighs 1,000 pounds.
Yeah, I gave that up because I wound
It
up
weighs
with impingements in my shoulders from the weight of playing
Schecters.
a Fender for like
Oh.
8 years with Cracker, and
God.
I luckily got rid of everything's fine now. But I said, you know what? Anything over 10 pounds is out of the question. I'm playing that Longhorn. It's like 5 pounds and it sounds big and it sounds as good as anything.
There
And
you go.
and that's what I go with.
So let me ask you this now. Now, I know this seems like a very simplistic question to maybe other musicians or just the audience, but as a bassist, and you mentioned the word purist because I was going to bring that up too. That's what I always use to describe myself.
Mm-hmm.
So, as a purist bassist, pick or no pick? Fingers or pick?
I use a pick.
Use a pick.
I do.
Really?
Yes.
Now, did you learn by using a pick, or did you just pick it up later? And
Basically, what happened was I'm a self-taught musician, so all the people that I looked to as bass players played with a pick.
yeah,
Except for James Jameson, who played on all the Motown records, who literally played with one finger.
this oh God, yeah,
One finger on his right hand. He did all that amazing stuff
wow,
that you hear on Motown records. But all the guys that I would put records on, and I was basically doing ear training, And in the process of doing ear training, the hardest instrument to hear on those old records is the bass.
Yep.
Because it was mixed low.
The mix.
Right. Until it wasn't, until they had the technology where you could actually hear the notes. But back then it was a challenge, and I was also intrigued by the role of the bass within the song. How like certain guys would just use it as a basic instrument to play along with the drummer. Other guys would use it as a counterpoint to a melody. So I was totally fascinated and intrigued and drawn to the bass. And at the same time, it gave me the opportunity to train my ear as a musician. So I'm completely self-taught. You know, I learned from playing along to the records, and then I just went from there.
That is fantastic. I did have another question. I just lost it. Oh crap. Well,
you asked me about a pick. You asked me about a pick and fingers.
Yeah.
If I'm a purist, so I guess I'm not, since I do play with a pick. So I guess I'm not that much of a purist.
No. Hey, whatever works for you. And I'm curious, because I was always curious, because whenever I watch certain bassists play, it's I see them using a pick, but I see them also playing the bass like a guitar. So those are that instantly to my mind, it means this person started off playing guitar and then moved to play bass because the band needed a bassist. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's not my experience. I literally started out, went right to the bass. My ear went right to the bass. My just my gut, everything was it just fascinated me, the way the instrument worked in every different situation. So I'm not a frustrated guitar player, to put it in a nutshell.
So when you see your role, do you see yourself, and I see this on bassist memes and stuff like that, but as we were talking about roles in a band, what is it that you find yourself, what role do you find yourself being, falling into or being pushed into with every project you work on? Like for instance, I kind of end up being the Switzerland in the band, where I'm like the fulcrum, trying to keep everything balanced, and with all the other stuff going on, the controlled chaos kind of thing. And that's how I see myself. I mean, how do you see yourself in your role?
Well, wow, that's a great question. It changes. It's different for every situation. Sometimes I'm called upon to just play real, I wouldn't say busy, but play melodically, complement the song, bring out the melody, play counterpoint. Other situations, the guy might have a song and he wants me to play pretty much what he wants. I've been in those situations as well, and I'm fine with that. I'm fine with a control. I've played with control freaks, and I've played with people that say, just play, just do what you do. That's what we hired you for. We want you to do what you do. So I've had both experiences.
Well, I'm glad you've had the experience of do what you do, because I mean, as far as I'm concerned, that's the whole key to anything in any industry, especially in the entertainment industry. You want to bring in as many people as you can, blend them together, because what are you going to create new? You can create some new genre. You can create, you have no idea when you bring so many people together who are willing to, share bits and pieces and share what they have of their craft to make it something new and fresh.
Yeah. I did a session in February of this year, kind of COVID was still, raging its ugly head. And they assured me, can you come in? We're doing a record. It's a lot of loops. And you'll be in the control room. You could wear a mask if you want, but we'll be I'll be in the recording room. They're in the control room, and we won't interact.
Okay.
But there's hardly anything on the tracks. There's just loops, and we want you to just do what you do. So I went in there, I wore a mask. I was a little nervous. First time I played in a little over a year. So I played these 6 songs, and then afterwards I said to the artist and the producer, and I said, does anything I just did make sense?
Because I asked that same question too. I know what you mean.
Yeah. So, and I was really genuinely, I wasn't pulling their leg.
Right.
I was like, I just played like you told me to do whatever I wanted to do, and I did. And does any of it make sense? So they're like, it's great. Trust us. It's really good. It's what we wanted. Yeah. And then when I heard the finished product about a month ago, and it sounds great. What they put over what I did just worked like a charm. So they're happy, I'm happy, and there you go. And then I've done other sessions where the guy wants me to play note for note.
Yeah.
What he wants.
Yeah.
And I have no problem with that either. I said, I respect the man that knows what he wants.
Awesome. Well, we're going to take a quick break. Just hold on through the break and we'll be right back. Okay.
Okay.
We got Sal Madea, guys. We'll be right back here with Live with Neve.
Hi, everybody. This is Donna Frost, and I'm live with Neve. See you soon.
Neil, your mic's off. Turn your mic on. Technology.
All right. I'm going to go back to what I was going to say. I've been listening to Julie and Sal talk bass, and they make really good bass. I got the blender ready. Excellent. Really enjoyed hearing their questions answered back and forth in all things bass. So I'm going to bring both of them on. Jules, why don't you just come on board to get all 3 of us here in one big sweaty pit. All right. So carry on where you were at. I'm just enjoying the conversation, but I want to interject because you've hit some interesting points and stuff. Take it away, Jules.
Oh, I put a light on. There
you go. He's a handsome man.
Yes, he is. Let's see, what was my other question I had? Okay. Riddle me this one. Now. Okay. Now, do you have an acoustic? I'm not talking about double standard stand up. I'm talking about like this acoustic bass. Do you have one of these? And if so,
I do not.
No, you don't. Okay. That's what I was wondering. I wanted to know what your experience was with working with one of those big bad ass basses.
I'm trying to think, maybe A few years ago, I was toying with the idea of buying one of those, but I never did. So I don't know why. I
Well,
just never did.
you're not missing a whole lot. I mean, it's cool to do certain things with and everything, but I can tell you trying to play it, trying to keep it tuned. Number one
Yeah.
is the worst,
Right.
hardest thing in the world.
Yeah.
It just
Oh, that's
does
good.
not
Thank
stay
you.
there. But it is fun to play like everything else. You know, I also have a Yamaha fretless. Love it.
I
My
like
favorite,
it.
one of my favorite ones, but there's no I don't have the active pickups on it yet. So it's just so
He's
you
a
really
big
can't.
bass.
It doesn't get the oomph and everything that that I need. To do what I do. So I stick with the Schecter. I use the acoustic for acoustic sets that we have. But do you? What do you look for? I mean, are you a brand guy, or do you look for how things are going to work together with your current equipment? And you just find the stuff that works with it, the equipment that works with it, or do you just stick with one brand?
I am very easy when it comes to equipment. My bass sounds good. Bass on a little, like say on 4, treble on 6, mid in the middle, volume not too loud, not too low. I want people to be able to hear every note that I play, because it's very important, because that's the kind of player I am. And yeah, I'm very easygoing when it comes to that kind of stuff.
That's cool.
The equipment thing. I'm not a techie at all. In the studio, I'm lucky. I do 2 or 3 projects where the engineers, they know how to get my sound. They know me.
Good. That's excellent.
So I never have to say, "Oh, what is that?" It's always like I plug in, I play something, and they play it back, and I'm like, he's got it. I have one guy that I work with that he's almost like a savant. He can remember all my takes.
Shut up. Really?
Yeah, his name is Len, and I work with him in one of the bands that I'm in called John Sally Ride. It's kind of a power pop band, and Len is sort of a genius savant. He'll say, I'll say, I want to do that over again, that little section. He said, but we have it on take 3. I said, how do you play that for me? And he plays it for me. And sure enough, I'm like, Len, you are some sort of freak. I mean,
meant as a compliment.
Yeah, and I mean as a compliment. I'm like, how do you remember that? And he's always been that way. And then the other guy I work with on projects, he's also always gets me a great sound. He knows, where I want to be in the mix, how I want to sound, how I don't want to just be a rumble.
Right.
I want the bass to be the bass, but I also want to be able to hear the notes that I'm playing, because it's important to me.
Yes.
No choice is very important to me. And I'll be my own worst critic if I'm like, I mean, I've done stuff like take a take and everyone's like, oh, that sounds great. And I'll be like, oh no, that's awful. My bass track is awful. I'm doing it. I'm coming up with something completely different. And everybody's looking at me like I lost my mind. And I'm saying, no, I'm producing myself this right here. Hi. And I've done that before.
See, I'm like that too. Neil can attest to that. In the early years when we first met and were working together, he'll tell you that, I used to be the same way. He always had to tell me, Okay, that's enough with the takes. It's good. As good as it's gonna get. And Neil, you're on mute, buddy.
Yeah, that happens
You're on mute,
sometimes.
Neil.
I can't hear him. He's
Neil,
saying
we
something.
can't hear you. Yeah, his mic is on mute. Neil, unmute your mic.
We can't hear.
There we go. I am back.
There we go.
I'm sorry. I'm sitting here mumbling to myself. I agree with you about taking. I like to go in, take 2 takes, maybe 3, and move on. If you can't get it in 2 or 3 takes, usually the first one, a lot of the time, is the one.
Yes.
Especially with something fresh. You feel it. You have a new exposure. I'd prefer to know the song and have rehearsed it, of course. But sometimes people don't have time for that, and if they don't,
I mean,
get in the gear and get your game on.
I've done both scenarios, rehearsed before we went in. I've done it where you just go in cold, and sometimes I'll say, you better record that because I'll never remember what I just did.
I hear you.
That's what you.
Yeah, that's right. Well, you're catching me in the moment, so you better record it.
I've always said record it all. Record fucking everything. When you're in there, like if you miss that when a band just starts playing it for practice and it's the take and then they never hit it for like 4 takes or somebody chokes, you never know who's going to do it. But I mean, as a producer, I always would tell people to just get out of the control room when like they're ragging on the rhythm section. The singer's in there prancing around. It's like, here, I'm going to stuff a rag in your mouth and you can go in the tape vault.
Right, exactly.
You know, like you're not adding to the session here. You're kind of toxic and drunk, and I specialized in that for many years, so I know all about it.
Yeah, you're right. Totally.
So you're kind of a small fellow. I noticed, you're only you're a wee leprechaun, eh?
I'm 6'5", actually.
You're a big man.
Wow.
I want to hire you and play with you just so we don't have to pay the bouncer, man. You're a big guy. I noticed that. Your bass looks small on you.
Looks like a mandolin, right?
Right? It does. It's pretty funny, man.
Oh,
yeah. I had no idea.
Question.
What's that?
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, go ahead, Jules.
What is it with the what was it? The instrument you were just saying? It was that people will play.
Jerry Jones?
That you were playing. Yeah, what was the instrument you were just speaking of?
Mandolin.
No, the mandolin. Yes. Answer me this. I've been going through so many different songs, and all I can find are mandolin tabs or mandolin lines. There's no freaking bass in half of them. It's a mandolin. Why? Can you please explain that to me, how it makes sense and why they do that?
I don't know. It's a mystery.
It's a conundrum.
It's a conundrum and a mystery.
This could be a very significant problem in rhythmic development.
It is. It drives me nuts.
It's just something that's the way they do it now, or they've always done it that way. I don't know.
I don't know either. I have no idea. I can see you, Sal. Do you ever tampered with a mandolin?
No, I have no desire, but it's an interesting instrument. I mean, when you think
it is. Somebody who's really good amazes me. Alison Krauss and stuff.
That guy Sam Bush, and that plays with Alison Krauss. He's otherworldly. I mean, I don't know how he does it.
Well, listen, we've had you on, and we're about to go. The hour's come to a close. Thank you so much. We could do this again sometime and keep talking, just rock and roll. I really enjoyed you coming on, and
sure, anytime. That was nice to meet Jules.
Nice to meet you too, Sal. It's great talking bass.
Don't forget to look up Julie Driscoll.
I would definitely will. I know the name.
I remembered the name after you brought it. I'm kind of old, and it's back in the memory somewhere. I went, oh yeah, I remember her. The pictures reminded me. Well, listen, everybody, Sal Madea, I'd say he's from some other band from the 70s, but this is Sal Madea. Go to his website. Just type the name, and if you can't find him, find me, and I'll find him. Where do you live in the city, buddy? Where do you live in New York?
I live in Jackson Heights, Queens.
Okay, very nice. All right, man.
Yeah.
Well, who knows? I'll see you at one of the shows coming up. We have lots of mutual friends, so I never know when I'll bump into you.
Yeah, I noticed you had Leland Sklar on at one point.
Yeah.
Yes, Leland's buddy.
We've had him on a couple of times, and hoping to have Waddy on. I'm just waiting to see if my press pass is approved. I might go see them tomorrow. And
where's he? Oh, he's got
playing at the
he has a band now, right? With the Danny
they're playing for the Center at Cultural Equality or Equity.
I thought he had a band with Danny Kutchmore and
yeah, that's who it is. The Immediate Family.
The Immediate Family, right?
Yeah, and then Paul, we've got like a lot of friends. Matt Carsonis, I think, is a friend of you guys. Oh, you don't know Matt?
I don't think I know Matt. No.
At any rate, thank you for being on. And I guess we're going to take off. Sal Madea, have a great day.
See you next time.
Thank you.
Bye.
Have a great weekend.
Happy Thanksgiving.